What's going on, everyone? In today's video, we're going to be installing the Bison Gear tire carrier as well as the new larger drop-down table, so stay tuned. So it helps if you have a buddy to help install a product like this, like Matt. Also, Matt stops me from breaking things quite frequently. I get frustrated pretty easily and then I break stuff, so Matt's here to make sure I don't break anything. And also, he just takes over and does like at least 75% of the work, which allows me to film. So this is broken. I think partly I broke it, and they re-engineered and upgraded the latch system. So it falls down every time the door opens. So that's why it was zip tied. And that's why I got the new and improved and bigger version from Bison Gear. Let's continue. Punch the hole. Then we're using the 3mm drill bit, and then we will move up to the 11mm drill bit. All right, guys, just a quick detour. This video is brought to you by EcoFlow. I just kind of want to share how I've been using the Delta 2 in my everyday life and how much I've been enjoying using it and all the different applications so far. So I usually use the EcoFlow on a daily basis. Either that's charging camera gear, I either bring it with me on video production shoots on my new cart there, and I leave it in the back of the Lexus often if I'm going biking and it's hot. I always have my fridge back there so I can power it up and have cold drinks after I've gone biking or I'm working all day. And finally, obviously, when I take it camping, it's super useful. With the integrated solar panels that I have, I can charge it up if I'm on a multi-day trip. I've had it powering a solar blanket inside the rooftop tent while it's powering the fridge. And I love the unit so far. It has the 1800 watt peak. It's a 1000 watt hour capacity roughly, and I use it on a daily basis. So this is like my video production cart. Usually it's all loaded up, and I'll have it on the bottom just in case I need to charge batteries, drone batteries, power a light or anything like that. Because often I'm shooting in locations maybe out in the field for oil and gas companies where I don't have access to power, but maybe I need to power a light for an interview. So I use it for that, and then I use it every day to just charge camera stuff just because it has so many different ports. I have the quick USB-C and the fast charge USB-A, as well as the ports on the back. But overall, I use it on a daily basis. The power that it can put out is absolutely amazing. Being able to charge it up with solar panels or quickly from the wall, it can pull as much as your wall can supply. So if you need to use the app, you can turn it down to, let's say, 500 watts, or it can go all the way up to 1200, 1700 watts, depending on the wall outlet that you're using, if it's a 15 amp or a 20 amp circuit breaker. But I just love using the app. I can turn it on and off if I'm in my rooftop tent. I can turn it on and off if I just left it in the car and it's powering a fridge, and I can just check on the charging status if I'm upstairs in my office and it's charging here in the garage. I can see when it's gonna be done if I'm about to take it on a shoot. I've used units from multiple brands, and this is my favorite one, honestly, just saying that. I love the capabilities. I love how it is packaged. I know it can be a little bit expensive, and that's why I wanted to share today the Prime Day sale. You can save up to $900 depending on the unit and if you get solar panels, but every single thing is on sale, and you can get an additional 5% off if you use my code linked in the description. This is the best time to buy this unit. You'll save the most amount of money, and I'll leave all the information for the Prime Day sale down below. And you can pick yourself up one and use it every day like me. All right, so the initial mock-up was successful. We got it all level, all the bolt holes lined up. When we just pulled it back a tiny bit, added the painter's tape, now we'll drill the bottom holes, and then you can kind of readjust. There's a little bit of adjustment room inside, and yeah. We got to pull it back off so I can show you putting the bolts on again. Getting that bracket up there is a little tricky. You got to kind of have it upside down and get it back up in the door skin, and then with the help from a friend, you can like line up the bowls and everything. So
Someone forgot to Loctite.
No,
So,
I just put all the bolts in, make sure they fit, and then taking them out one by one to Loctite them.
Yeah, because that's the efficient way, right?
It's blue Loctite, and the kit came with it, so the kit comes with everything.
It does actually. Except a camera extension harness or extra wires, but
yes,
we'll figure that out. Looks nice.
After this, we'll snug it up, and then we'll torque it to spec. All right, we're on hour 16 now.
Yeah, we already had dinner.
When did we start? 3?
Yeah, maybe even before.
It's been 4.5 hours at least, but we did have shawarma.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh man, so you have to drill through this plate after everything's mounted on the other side. You drill through the plate and then you're sandwiching that bracket against this like inner door frame. So it's kind of like sandwiched against both the outer skin and the inner skin. And now we only have 2 more holes to drill, and that is underneath here for this bracket. And then we have to do the kick plate and the license plate, but I'm gonna mount the license plate on my ladder. So yeah, let's keep her going.
But there's no specific screw. It's on the ladder.
What?
Like, the tire's touching the ladder, so
No.
you can push it across.
Don't you say that. Wait. I think we gotta have less. We can't have angle. We can't have angle.
It's right on the angle. Where are the plates that
Come on.
Yeah.
Whew. That's a bit work. Got some work. So I'm just installing one of the final pieces to the puzzle. It's this guy, very important piece because it meets up with a steel bracket on the bottom part of the door that is connected to the whole inner steel bracket system that the tire carrier is mounted to. Kind of hard to show those steel brackets, but it's all integrated, and that weight is then transferred down onto this lower subframe. I'm not sure exactly what this part is called, but the weight is therefore not as much on the hinges. So to install this, I need to drill up to the 11mm hole. Then we're going to use actually a riv nut tool, which I've never used before, so that'll be fun. And then after that, so then I have a new kind of striker plate, like latch piece, and this will help support the door, so there's less movement, no squeaking. And then I'm also going to do a shim in the bottom door hinge to kind of get that door up a little bit to prevent some sag. I'm going to be trying a few of these little tricks that people have told me to do that have run similar tire carriers. And with this lower bracket here supporting the weight integrated through the door onto the tire carrier, the shim, and this kind of supporting striker plate or whatever you want to call it, this should all mitigate some of the sag. This is my favorite look. I love this tire carrier. I love being able to open the door and not having to open anything else first. So we'll see how it goes, and we'll get this installed. All right, so I just used some good quality tin snips just to take a little bit off. It was kind of messing with the bracket. You could use a Dremel. This is just quick and easy. It's not the most perfect cut ever, but gets the job done. Now we can put this bracket on a little bit easier. I found the plastic was just kind of messing with the angle of the bracket. Might do one more quick trim and then we'll get this marked up and we'll get started on drilling. Get yourself a set of good quality tin snips. I use these all the time. Do yourself a favor and get some good quality tin snips. These are from Jet. I use these way more than I ever thought I would, from cutting zip ties, metal zip ties, to cutting plastic, fender liners. Like, they're just so universal. Any light gauge metal, but plastic for sure, where I'd have to go get my Dremel and then I'd have hot flying plastic kind of flying everywhere. This just works in the for little jobs like this. Now let's get this bracket installed. Perfect. So yeah, sitting way more flush. Well, that wasn't too hard. You just got to have it start open, make sure it's threaded all the way on, and give it 2 to 3 pumps once it's in there. And then you can open it a tiny bit and release the threads with this part. It spins the entire internal unit. And yeah, worked really well. So I just have 3 more to do and then we'll put the bracket on. So I just made a little Sharpie mark to see where it was striking the metal plate. It looks like it's almost dead center, just hitting the top. It's not like nicking the tip, which is good. I think I'll leave it how it is. There is still some adjustment in the bracket, and let's keep going. All right, guys, I finally got some shims. Excuse how dirty it is. I've been trying to clean it up. Some shims to offset the door so it's a little bit more upright and it aligns with everything over here. I got a kit, I'll link it down below. JW Off-Road also offers some like pre-built shims, and you can go with that option, but for me in Canada it was a lot cheaper just to buy a shim kit. I went with a little bit bigger ones to start and the door was too high, so I ended up going with the one level under the max, but I'll link that kit down below. And then I also went with this Bofu Racing kind of like striker plate or whatever you call it. It prevents the door from rattling at all with the added weight, and that combined with that the door is sitting on this plate that we previously installed and these shims, it's closing beautifully, and I think that will help it last long term. So yeah, those 3 things will really help to keep the door aligned and keep the weight off of like the door skin. That goes to the back of the subframe. That will help kind of prevent the door from rattling, and this keeps it, the shims keep it in the proper position. Now we'll reinstall the back interior panel, which has the Bison Gear full length table on it. And then that thing up above is from Ohana Supply. I'll link all this stuff down below, but let's get started on the rear panel. One last thing, I wired in a backup camera to that Android Apple CarPlay head unit, and I just tapped into, I got to do it legit, but I tapped in just to figure out which wire goes to the backup camera. So I'm going to solder that in properly, and so when I put the GX in reverse, it automatically triggers the backup camera on the Apple CarPlay unit that I have. I'll be doing a video on that next. And then I also, that records 24/7 anytime I'm driving. The rear view of my GX, which is the backup camera, the new one that came with the head unit, and then it also records up the front. So it's a full front and rear dash cam that is mounted right in here. I may mount the camera on the center cap to get a better field of view, but right now it's working great. I got it wet and it seems to be fully waterproof. And yeah, just all these little livability things with the GX make it better for daily driving. It is my one and only car right now. It's my daily driver. So having like front cameras and a rear camera with the backup, that is way better dynamic range, and I can see things behind me versus the stock GX navigation screen. this gear organizer from Gear that will go here, and I can still put the screws back in. So we're almost done. Thanks for watching today's video on the Gear tire carrier, as well as the new drop-down table, and kind of integrating the new backup camera with the Apple CarPlay head unit. I'll try to cover that in a future video on how I installed it and how I like it so far. But for now, that's the end of this video, and thanks for watching.